The world we live in feels smaller than ever. We have satellites that can zoom in on a license plate from space and high-speed internet that connects us in milliseconds. But what if I told you that beneath the surface of our mapped world, there are massive black holes in our history? We like to think we know where we came from, but there are places on this planet where the authorities have quietly locked the gates, and for good reason. From underground rivers of liquid poison to maps that show continents that shouldn't have been discovered for centuries, we are walking over a past that defies every rule of modern science. Today, we are opening the files that the textbooks choose to ignore. Fasten your seatbelt, because history is about to feel a lot less certain. The liquid grave of the first emperor. Deep beneath a grassy mound in the Shanxi province of China, there is a palace that no living person has entered for over 2,000 years. This is the final resting place of Qin Shi Huang, the man who first united China. Now, we've all seen the terracotta army, those thousands of unique clay soldiers standing guard. But they are just the lobby. The actual central tomb remains untouched, and the Chinese government is in no rush to open it. Why? On the surface, they say it's about preservation, that the moment air hits the artifacts, they'll disintegrate. But the real reason might be much more cinematic and much more deadly. Ancient chronicles written by the historian Sima Qian claim that the emperor's tomb contains a miniature version of his entire kingdom, complete with rivers and seas made of flowing liquid mercury, that moved by mechanical devices to flow eternally. For a long time, historians thought this was just a tall tale meant to scare off grave robbers. However, recent soil tests around the mound have revealed mercury levels that are hundreds of times higher than normal. If those rivers are real, opening the tomb would be like triggering a massive chemical weapon. There are also rumors of automated crossbows, designed to fire at anyone who dares to step inside. Is it a tomb, or is it a 2,000-year-old booby trap that still works? We may not find out in our lifetime, but the sensors suggest a structure so massive, it makes the Great Pyramid look like a starter home. The ghost of the world's greatest conqueror. While China hides its emperor in plain sight, Mongolia has spent 8 centuries guarding a secret that has literally vanished. Genghis Khan was a man who conquered more land than anyone in human history. His empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the gates of Europe. But when he died in 1227, he made one final, terrifying request. He wanted to be buried where no one could ever find him. The legend says that his funeral procession was a trail of blood. The soldiers carrying his body killed every person they met on the road to ensure no witnesses remained. Then, once the body was in the ground, those soldiers were killed by another group of soldiers, who were then executed themselves. 1,000 horses were supposedly driven over the site to erase any trace of a path, and some say a river was diverted to cover the grave forever. Today, modern treasure hunters use drones and high-resolution satellite imagery to scan the Ich Korig, or the Great Taboo, a massive area of the Mongolian wilderness that was off-limits to everyone for centuries. Even with all our tech, we've found nothing. It's the ultimate cold case. Some believe finding the tomb would trigger a curse that would end the world, a rumor that gained traction after the tomb of Timur was opened right before the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union. Perhaps some conquerors are better left in the shadows. The giants of the French wilds. We are often told that humans have been getting taller over time due to better nutrition, but the archives of 1890 tell a very different story. In a small village called Castelnau-les-Lacs in France, a prominent anthropologist named Georges Vacher de la Puge made a discovery that should have changed every biology book on the planet. He unearthed 3 bone fragments, a femur, a tibia, and an arm bone, from a Bronze Age burial mound. These weren't just large bones. Based on the measurements, the individual would have stood over 11 feet tall. These weren't the only ones. A few years later, giant skulls were reportedly found near Montpellier. These remains were sent to the French Academy of Sciences for study, and that is where the story gets weird. They vanished. Just like the thousands of reports of giant skeletons found in the United States in the 1800s, the physical evidence seems to evaporate the moment it enters a government institution. Was there a different branch of humanity? A race of giants that lived alongside us? Every culture on Earth has stories of them, from the Nephilim to the Titans. If these bones were just a medical anomaly, why is it so hard for us to see them today? It seems someone is very invested in keeping our family tree looking a certain way. The heavyweight champion of Lebanon. If you want to see something that truly breaks modern engineering, you have to go to Baalbek, Lebanon. There, in the foundation of the Temple of Jupiter, lie 3 massive stones known as the Trilithon. Each one weighs about 800 tons. To give you an idea of how heavy that is, it's equivalent to about 250 African elephants. The Romans claimed they built the temple, and they certainly built the top part. But here's the problem. Roman cranes and pulley systems were well documented, and the absolute maximum they could lift was about 10 tons. How did they move 800-ton blocks from a quarry and stack them with such precision that you can't even fit a credit card between the joints? It's not just the weight, it's the logistics. Even today, with our most advanced hydraulic cranes, moving an 800-ton block across uneven terrain would be a nightmare. In the nearby quarry, there is an even larger stone, weighing over 1,600 tons, left behind as if the workers just dropped their tools and walked away. Some researchers suggest that an older, much more advanced civilization occupied this site long before the Romans arrived, a civilization that understood how to manipulate gravity or use sound frequencies to make stone weightless. It sounds like science fiction, but the stones are real, and they aren't moving. The book that no one can read. In the archives of a library in Hungary, there is a small book that has defeated every linguist, codebreaker, and even top-tier artificial intelligence. It's called the Rohonc Codex. Discovered in the early 19th century, it contains 448 pages of a script that exists nowhere else in history. Most alphabets have 20 to 40 characters. This book has nearly 800 unique symbols. The illustrations inside are even more bizarre. They show a mix of Christian, Islamic, and pagan symbols, all living together in scenes of daily life and warfare. There are images of what look like strange machines and rituals that don't match any known religion from the Middle Ages. Some people think it's the secret history of a lost tribe in Central Europe, yet while others are convinced it's a high-level hoax designed to drive scholars crazy. But if it's a hoax, the creator was a genius. The patterns in the text follow the Zipf's law of natural languages, meaning it's not just random gibberish. It is a message. We just aren't smart enough to read it yet. What secrets are locked behind that code? Is it a map? A recipe for something forbidden? Or a warning from a civilization that saw its own end coming? The upside-down mountain of India. If the pyramids of Egypt are a miracle of stacking, the Kailasa Temple in India is a miracle of subtraction. Most buildings are constructed from the ground up, block by block. But the architects of Kailasa did the opposite. They found a solid basalt mountain and carved the temple out of it from the top down. Yet they removed over 400,000 tons of solid rock using nothing but hammers and chisels. Think about the math for a second. Historians say this was completed in about 18 years. That means the workers had to remove about 60 tons of rock every single day, working around the clock without a single mistake. In a top-down build, if you chip off a piece of a pillar by accident, you can't put it back. The precision is terrifying. There are intricate bridge systems, rain harvesting drains, and multi-level balconies all carved from a single piece of stone. Some bold theories suggest that the builders used a technology we have forgotten. Perhaps a way to soften the stone or laser-like tools. When the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb sent 1,000 men to destroy the temple in the 1600s. Yet they worked for 3 years and barely made a scratch. The mountain won. The Atlantis of the North Sea? We often talk about Atlantis as a myth, but Doggerland was very, very real. 10,000 years ago, you could walk from London to Amsterdam without getting your feet wet. The North Sea was once a vast, fertile plain filled with lagoons, forests, and a thriving prehistoric civilization. It was a paradise for hunter-gatherers, filled with mammoths and lush vegetation. Then, in a single catastrophic afternoon, it all went underwater. Around 8,200 years ago, a massive underwater landslide off the coast of Norway, known as the Storegga Slide, triggered a tsunami so powerful it swallowed Doggerland whole. Today, fishermen in the North Sea regularly pull up ghosts in their nets. Mammoth tusks, ancient human tools, and even fossilized human remains. We are just now beginning to map this sunken world using seismic data from oil companies, and what we are finding is a lost chapter of human history that was erased by rising sea levels. It's a haunting reminder that the ground we stand on today might be the ocean floor of tomorrow. The map that breaks time. Our final mystery is a piece of parchment that shouldn't exist. In 1513, an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis drew a world map. On it, he showed the coastlines of Africa, South America, and most shockingly, the northern coast of Antarctica. Now here is the problem. Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820. That is a 300-year gap, but it gets even weirder. The map shows the Antarctic coastline without ice. Yet we know through modern subglacial testing that Antarctica has been covered in ice for at least 6,000 years. So how did a 16th century admiral get a map that accurately depicts the land underneath the ice? Piri Reis himself admitted that he didn't draw the map from scratch. He compiled it from much older source maps that dated back to the time of Alexander the Great. This suggests that some ancient civilization, one that existed before the last ice age, had already mapped the entire globe with incredible accuracy. Who were they? And how did they navigate the world thousands of years before the invention of the compass? History is full of these cracks in the narrative. We like to think we are the pinnacle of human achievement. But these mysteries suggest we are just the latest in a long line of civilizations that rose, reached the stars, and were eventually forgotten. The files are there. We just have to be brave enough to look at them. For more deep dives into the world's most chilling and unexplained files, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community here at Mysteries Uncovered Files. The truth is out there, buried beneath the dust of time, and we are just getting started. What do you think is the most shocking mystery on this list? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, keep searching.